$1,776. Our MTA annual dues is $1,746.66, and there's three consumers' energy bills. $80.64, $65.06, and $44.60 for the cemetery, the community center, and streetlights. Richard Septic for Port John service at the cemetery is $165. Brian at the cemetery wages for the month is $675. The two assessors for the month is $1,203.51 each, and Dave Kelsey for zoning is $481.84. Water bill for the month is $43.72. Our internet service from Cass Airpoint is $75.24. Clerk and treasurer's rental reimbursement is $150. The board's monthly per diem is $31.87.28. Pay our deputy treasurer for 6 months, $14.09.60, and deputy clerk $13.21.77. And the board's annual bonus payments of $94.93.87. Have a total of $27,738.64.
Is there a motion to accept the the clerk's report and pay the bills? Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Treasurer's report.
Cato Township beginning balance was $446,281.21. We had an income of $178,218.62. Our ending balance is $595,527.99. Fire district, our beginning balance was $46,774.94. We have an income of $1.92. Our ending balance is $46,776.86. Honeymoon Heights, our beginning balance was $8,034.29. We have an income of 33 cents. Our ending balance is $8,034.62. CDs, our beginning balance was $107,139.22. We do have an income of $45.58 for the last 3 months. And our ending balance is $107,184.80.
Is there a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Support? Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. You have Dave Kelsey's report.
Yes. We had 3 zoning permits that went out in June. One was on North Johnson Road for a 46 by 36 barn. One is on Lake Shore Drive for a home addition. And one is on Tamarack Road for a pole barn. And then Dave also sent a letter stating, I would like to go to this class, which is attached. It's a zoning class. I'm asking the board to pay for the class $180 divided by 7 different townships would be $25.71 per township. Home Township did sign him up. If we pay, he will give Home Township that portion. So we'll pay him and he'll pay Home Township. I make a motion that we do allow Dave to go to a zoning class. It's always good for education.
Support.
Is there support? You support? Discussion on Dave attending the class at Mount Pleasant. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Any new business came up since we did the agenda? Old business, trail, anything on the trail?
Yeah, good news on the trail. We did receive from Montcalm County Commissioners $50,000 last week to go towards that project, which we kind of knew we were going to be getting at, or hoped we were going to be getting it, but that came in along with about $92,000 from federal ARPA, our second payment. Came way earlier than we expected. Anyway, good news. we haven't done any more work on the trail. The village will start the project down here by the park with sidewalks coming soon, I think later this month.
Wind ordinance, proposal. Phil, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, so I just wanna make a few comments, if you will, so, thanks, you know, as chairman of the Township Planning Commission in Cato Township, I wanna thank you for allowing us to come here this evening. It is greatly appreciated, so we can talk through this process, if you will, and, allowing me to speak for a few minutes this evening. First of all, thank you for allowing the commission to hold many additional meetings this past year and a half. And also obtaining legal counsel, that, you as a board approved. It allowed us to put together for your consideration, hopefully this evening, as far as a wind ordinance. Please understand that I spent many hours researching, discussing, analyzing, attending seminars, which enabled me to discuss and work with my peers at the Cato Township Planning Commission, whom also spent many hours gaining wind knowledge and turbines. And also our legal advisor, Leslie, from whom you again approved, negotiated, to be part of this, which allowed us, we believe, to protect Cato Township in ensuring the safety and health and welfare of this community, if you will. Again, we held many township planning meetings this past year and a half, listening to many residents, some of those of Cato Township, some of those obviously of Montcalm County, and then also obviously some of those individuals that live in other places in the state. Many hours were invested into that. Sometimes I think, one particular meeting, probably over 2 hours of just comments from individuals. And we listened to those people. We gave them the opportunity to speak. We took the time to allow them to do that, so. And then also, and this was mentioned earlier, I'd like to thank one of our Cato residents, Jamie, for videotaping these meetings, which allowed me as an individual to go back and look at and recall, because maybe I missed something. It was just a great tool. And I hope, with that being said, that this board adopts some technology at some point in the future when it comes to that, because obviously it's a great access for not only us as individuals that are on a board or our commission, but also the community that we live in the residents of Cato Township. I still remember today one comment from one of our former Cato Township Planning Commission members stating, "Phil, or even the commission, you have one shot. You have one shot to get it right." I believe we did. And you have that in front of you tonight. Even though maybe we as a commissioner didn't agree on all aspects and details of this wind ordinance, we did vote, we did have a consensus, and we did agree on those different topics within this ordinance that you have in front of you in this resolution that we approved on, in June. We held a public hearing on June 8th. You have all the information and comments, obviously, that was sent to you on June 14th, to analyze and consider. We also sent them to the Montcalm County Planning Commission. And I would like to apologize because some of you didn't get that information in your packet, I think, that was given to you last week. It was sent to us, we just didn't get it and get it passed on. Hopefully in the future, maybe we'll change some avenues there, maybe we'll have an email address just for the planning commission so we can have that accessible to us. What did the Montcalm County Planning Commission meeting say? If I can sum it up in my perception, and we all have different perceptions, you know, there was 9 individuals that were present at this meeting to analyze this, on this, the County Planning Commission. 5 individuals didn't even make a comment. I find that interesting on the ordinance. One commissioner made extensive comments. They talked about setbacks from lakes, streams, and wetlands of 1.5 miles. Again, I think you'll have that information that was sent to you this morning. They talked about shadow flicker. They talked about the height requirement of 400 feet. It was also said that it wasn't restrictive, it was more of a product availability. And then the power lines being 10 feet below grade. And the last fifth point that particular individual had was a noise compliance. The whole noise compliance. I don't think he understood it, I guess is what, I don't think he did, or thought it was too cumbersome. When I read those, or I seen that on video, the first thing I thought about was a letter that Apex put together, because it kind of called out all the aspects in that. Now, maybe this individual thought it was a little restrictive, I don't know. I wasn't there at the meeting, I had other obligations, but that was one commissioner's thought. Another commissioner suggested that maybe we should have both Spanish and English on the signs that we post on around the turbines. Two other commissioners just made general comments. Those are in that report that was sent to you, that email. One commissioner voiced on how the comments are going to be recorded and sent back to the townships. It is my belief that individual had a concern that is just this one individual that made the comment, is that going to represent us whole? Again, there was 7 commissioners that didn't even make a comment. So, and lastly, the chairman stated that that this township, meaning Cato Township and others, have spent a lot of time and money, and many of them hired planners and even attorneys for the guidance that they don't have to take our comments and recommendations, and it is their responsibility when it comes to the end. So, and we did hire, obviously, an attorney to help us through that process. So how do you interpret their actions as far as when it comes to the Montgomery County Planning Commission? I guess it's up to you. Sounds like to me there's 2 commissioners that had some comments, but the 7 others obviously didn't. Which, did they agree with it? Did they not? I don't know. Kind of a weird process, I guess, in my thoughts. I think it was also said there that some of the townships didn't even send it to the planning commission in Montgomery County. I guess they don't have to, according to what was said that week. So, please understand that the proposed or talked about money that this wind farm could bring to this township, this county, does crazy, crazy things to people. It has divided this county, this community, Cato Township, and even the Cato Township Planning Commission, and even other townships. So great people have been hurt, and this is so sad, in my opinion. It's so sad. Money's not everything. Even though it makes it easier to accomplish things in life, our elected officials are voted in to protect the safety, health, and welfare of our township, and to ensure that we continue to grow and prosper as a community. I feel that this ordinance is adopted, it will allow wind turbines, which will allow for the funding and the growth of a company who chooses to apply and get approval for such a project in Cato Township, or even surrounding townships in Montgomery County. Cato Township has many ordinances on the books, many ordinances. There's guidelines when it comes to living here and doing business here in Cato Township. We might not all agree on the specifics in each one of these ordinances, but we have a place in Cato Township, we have a process in place in Cato Township, and there's a procedure when one disagrees, which we all must follow. And that would be no difference than to this one. Remember, you can't please everyone. We couldn't, as a commission, the county didn't, but the townships, county, and state elect officials, you, to vote and come to a conclusion on specific items and concerns at their particular meetings. Every day and move on, it's that is a responsibility as elected official. You've done some of that tonight already in your business that you did prior to this topic. I'm willing to answer, as the Cato Township Planning Commission are also here. Leslie is here to help you better understand why what we did when it comes to that wind ordinance that you have in front of you tonight. And finally, I ask that you discuss and approve an ordinance this evening, tonight. Don't send it back to us. I don't want it. We spent a year and a half on it. We have other things on our agendas that we need to take care of. We spent enough money on this. Thank you.
you.
Any members have any questions of Phil?
Not just me though, but anybody, Leslie, do we have other ones?
What's the floor?
Yeah, oh, sure, I'll just introduce myself, my name is Leslie Abdu, I'm from Foster Swift Law Firm. You hired me to assist the planning commission in drafting the revised wind ordinance. I've worked with a couple of other communities here in Montcalm County as well as throughout the state, dealing with both wind and solar issues. Happy to address any questions the board has about the ordinance or, specific, ramifications of it. I will start off by saying I don't have any personal, agenda. I know some people think that I have, some sort of, one-sided opinion on this topic. I don't live in Cato Township, I don't vote here. I take my direction from you as the legislative body, the board, and from the planning commission. My goal is to assist you in drafting the best ordinance that, from a policy standpoint, you as elected officials want for your community, and to ensure that the ordinance is lawful and legally defensible. So that's what I'm here for, and I just don't want anyone to think that I'm, one-sided in from a policy standpoint on this issue. So happy to address any questions the board may have, about the ordinance or about the process that we went through in terms of drafting it and sending it off to the county and public hearing and everything else.
Any questions for Leslie? Okay. I would like to comment. I have several emails in the last few days from pro-wind people. It's getting so that, they're not just landowners. It's I don't know how many the rest of you have had, but, there are people out there that,
Are they here?
no, they're not. Okay.
What are here?
Joe, let him talk, be quiet.
Thank you. Anyway. Anybody, anything else for the board?
I had a question for Pat Clark.
Yes, sir.
When you were explaining your concern here,
Yes, sir.
you mentioned there would be a turbine 600 feet from your home.
That's what you guys were originally talking, they were within 600 feet of my house. The original planning was going to go that way. And without the planning commission situation here,
Oh, okay. I
now I'm concerned.
I thought you were stating there was gonna be one too close to your house. At
Well,
60.
600 feet would be a little
Oh, yeah,
close to my house.
I agree. I just was trying to understand what you were pointing out.
Could we just, since we have Leslie here, just in what you've seen as far as like from the county or any of those comments, was there anything that concerned you from a legal perspective? Cause I went through everything and I was still confident in the ordinance that we drafted as on the planning commission.
Yes, I did have an opportunity to review the comments from Montcalm County, and they're similar to the same comments that we've received from other communities, two other communities in Montcalm County. The only comment that I would make, I don't have any concerns about the majority of these bullet points. The first comment with respect to the 1.5 mile setback, that's something that we discussed at the planning commission stage, and I encourage the planning commission to make sure that we're looking at maps and determining where are the applicable lakes, streams, and wetlands that that the setback would apply to, and check and see what available land there would be for turbines, keeping in mind this setback. And I understand that they did review that and determine that there was land that would be available for for turbines within that 1.5 mile, outside of that 1.5 mile radius. From an exclusionary zoning standpoint, there's been comments related to that by members of the public this evening. Just to kind of reiterate what the legal standard is for exclusionary zoning. So the Michigan Zoning Enabling Act, which is the statute that prohibits a community from adopting a zoning regulation that's considered exclusionary. And the standards for approving an exclusionary zoning ordinance ordinance, which is on the burden of a developer or an applicant, property owner seeking to construct a land use that would otherwise be unlawful under a zoning ordinance, is one that the zoning ordinance completely excludes that land use within the community. Completely excludes, meaning it would not be permitted anywhere based on those standards in the zoning ordinance. And two, that there's a demonstrated need for that land use within the community. And it's a demonstrated land use in the township, not necessarily a demonstrated need in the state as a whole. So that's the standard that any individual or developer challenging a zoning ordinance would have to prove to meet an exclusionary zoning claim. So that, just keeping that in mind, and we had many discussions about that at the planning commission level with respect to, the applicable regulations. And so, like I said, I did have an opportunity to review the county planning commission's comments, which are advisory in nature only. You're not required to incorporate them, but may utilize them as part of your decision-making process. And I don't have any concerns based on the comments that the comments and the discussions that we had at the planning commission level.
Were you helping Pine Township as well?
I did work with Pine Township, yes.
Did they just change Phil mentioned the sound compliance. Did Pine change from what they started with originally? They had the LMAX and now I think they have LEQ.
I believe that was the same the entire time. I don't think that the board made any changes to the
I was reading it
to the
online. I
sound.
thought it indicated
I
they had
do
changed.
have a copy of it here, but I don't believe that they made any changes to that after the fact. Meaning the board changing it after the planning commission's recommendation.
Well, no, I just thought that they had originally, it was similar to ours, our proposal.
Had an LEQ standard. I'll check the ordinance.
I think it was LAQ 1 second.
It wasn't something that was changed that I can recall, at least with respect to the standard in which it was measured. Maybe they changed DBA requirements throughout the time that they discussed the ordinance, but I can't recall them making any specific changes to the way that the sound was measured. It is LEQ 1 second.
Is your question whether they changed it after they?
No, well, I thought in their original draft, they were using LMAX measurement and then they took it out.
Not that I recall.
Todd, do you understand so that was a rabbit hole that we delved down,
Yeah.
and we went with an LMAX language because it makes Dave's job easier to enforce. Cause you start to get in the LEQ, even if it's for 1 second, then there's metering, measuring, it can go down a whole, it might take 30 days of sound tests to determine whether or not it's in compliance, where with an LMAX, if it peaks above, it's like a speed limit. Once you're above that speed limit, then there's a violation of the ordinance.
I've been reading up on the differences between the two for the last month and trying to understand.
So we went with the LMAX for the simplified fact that it is easier for us to enforce and actually streamlines that process. Because ultimately, when there's a violation, it's gonna go to Dave Kelsey to have to go and check all this, and it was our understanding as a commission that the other ways to go about it become very, well, for one, expensive. You gotta pay for a sound study, 30 days, whatever, averaging, metering. With the LMAX, it's like a speed limit.
The
You go over
noise
it
is
and
the
it's-
number one complaint, so that's a big deal is to neighbors, is the noise complaint. And we did, to compromise, we did offer a waiver option where if someone is willing to, I guess, deal with the noise, they can sign a waiver. It would get recorded with the county, but that was kind of one of our compromises, but we did wanna simplify it. There are lots of other townships that use the LMAX language, so that was, again, what Juana said, you can go down a rabbit hole. We tried to keep our, the section on noise very concrete, and we were very picked and, very choosy as far as which paragraphs we put in. I mean, it could have been 2-3 pages long just on noise, so we shaved it down to what we thought was appropriate. And if we ever get to the permitting stage, that's where the township would hire its own independent third-party sound engineer to kind of help with the specifics of measuring and whatnot, so.
To answer your question, I can't LEQ standard is what they use.
I've been reading online what the other townships are coming up with for ordinances, and it's all over the map. It's unfortunate we couldn't have got together as a group countywide and came up with something uniform.
Sure.
Todd, I can tell you that I spent many hours trying to coordinate or get the county to do such a thing. Guess what? They don't want anything to do with it. Nothing. And they could have if they wanted to, but they don't want anything to do with it. I mean, it's a big hill to climb, but it is something that could have been possible. But they don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Pretty sad. These elected officials don't want to do what their job is. But it is what it is. There is multiple different, I mean, Randy mentioned that. I mean, there is different, sections that have waivers available. I guess I don't recall them all. Do you, Randy?
I think we put a waiver on it.
Setbacks, access driveways, sound, shadow flicker, I mean, we've tried to leave the door open for those that don't wanna sign their property up, but maybe don't want the full protection that everybody else does want, so we've got, trying to weigh both sides,
Yep.
yeah.
We've done that in there to help that process, but we have to have a starting point at some point, and then let the waiver deal with that, if they so choose.
I don't think there's anybody here on the board that feels that you haven't done a very thorough job. And I commend you. As far as kicking it back to you, I have no intention of doing that. We haven't talked, the board hasn't talked about that, but, I appreciate the hours that you have spent. I don't agree with everything you've done.
Well, I'm not so sure we as a commission agreed with everything either, Larry, but we, at some point, as an elected official.
I really appreciate, and I think everybody on the board here does. Now we're tied with, I'm not sure the more I've listened tonight, I'm not sure I'm ready to support this. How does the board feel?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of information. I know we've had it for a month. And most people would probably say, you've got plenty of time to review it and make your choice. You guys got a long time, you got a lot of time invested. And, I don't look at this all the time, but I would like to, not to table it and do further review. We just got the county's recommendation, not recommendation, excuse me, their comments today. So I think as being good stewards, we should take a little bit more time to review.
Is that a motion?
Sure.
Okay.
Is there a support?
I'll support it.
Motion's made to, did you say table?
Yeah.
To table this.
I don't feel like,
For more study.
yeah, I don't feel like can right now really add or subtract anything to it at this point in time.
No, like I said, I don't wanna kick it back. They've done their work. But I think we need to do some work too. Okay.
But that's just my opinion.
Motion's been made and supported to table the wind ordinance. Any other discussion?
Do you have any other questions for Leslie or whether the planning commission's here to?
I don't, at this point, I don't think.
I guess I have some discussion. I think I'm part of this discussion too, because it's a joint meeting, if you will, even though I can't vote. I don't know why you're tabling it. I don't get it. I mean, we've worked on this thing for a year and a half, and if you haven't followed it, if you haven't read it, if you haven't watched the videos, I don't know what the hell you've been doing. I mean, I'm not saying I'm for or against it. All I can say is, you know what, we've spent a lot of time, and you've had time to dissect it and read it. And you know what?
Well, that's why we're sitting here. So
Yeah,
if you
make
guys
a,
have
make a
questions,
You
decision.
came here
You can
tonight
ask
to
us.
answer your
We
questions.
didn't say we weren't gonna make a decision, but we're not gonna make it tonight, and we will not be bullied.
I'm not bullying you, Larry, I'm just making a comment. You asked for discussion, this is a joint meeting. I have the right to make a comment.
You ever,
And we
Okay,
paid for the
all I'm
attorney
asking
to
for
come
you
here
for
tonight.
let's talk about some of the topics or concerns you have a
What
discussion,
concerns do you
have a
have?
concern with that you can't make a vote on it. What are some of those concerns? Because we, as a commission, would love
Well,
to talk to you through that
if
process.
we need, I think we need to take the county's point of view here seriously.
Joe Hanson, that's one man's point of view.
Jeremy,
Okay.
Jeremy.
This is not for open meeting. You'll have your time to ball us out in a minute.
We're in a moratorium, there's nothing gonna get built, why can't we take some more time to review it? I know you've worked for a long time on it, but we're just asking for a little more time to review
Are
this.
there specific points, Jordan? that
I
you
don't
wanna
have
talk
them yet, but I don't feel comfortable yet voting on it, and that's my choice. I made a motion, I'm one, run around the table, maybe we'll have a motion tonight.
There's been a motion made, there's been support. Is there any other discussion? Should we do a roll call, or do you want to just,
I would recommend
Roll call.
you do a roll call.
you have a what?
I would recommend you do a roll call, yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
Joyce,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
yes,
No.
motion passed, 4-1. Do we have anything else to come before the meeting?
Public comment.
Public comment, yeah.
We're open for public comment.
I'm Randy Clark, Cato Township, and I'm, as a citizen and what you've just decided here, I mean, why didn't any of you guys come to the public hearing? Nobody came to the public hearing, I don't understand that.
We didn't have all the information yet.
To come to the
You
public
come-
hearing?
What the hell you mean?
I'm talking about a month ago. Are you guys, who are you gonna get your information from on these questions? We came here tonight as a planning commission to answer your questions. We came here ready and prepared. We paid to have an attorney here. And,
So are we
you just
to come
kinda
to
threw
your
it all
next
back in
meeting
our
so we
face.
can be present in case, then you might have some
If
questions?
this is public comment, we're not gonna,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
but
comment.
it's back, I guess, who are you gonna get your information from, Todd? Are you gonna call me and ask me a question? Are you gonna call Quanah? Where is, Jordan, are you?
I may very well call in, if you have me call in attorney.
Well, I expect a phone call, because I don't, if we come back to the next meeting and you're changing this, and this, I wanna know why, I wanna see the research. That's what this was for, and you've known for a while, and I just really feel railroaded here, I really do, that's all I have to say.
What is another month, this isn't gonna hurt anything.